This week on Chicago Beer Pass, Nick and I get a sneak peek of Twisted Hippo, as they should be opening their doors sometime mid-January. Let's dive in and hear what you can expect at their new Brewpub.
The legend, Mr. Pete Crowley. I love Pete Crowley, man.
How's that beer? It's what you think it is.
It'll be like the stuff you hear. You ever go to every time you go to Floyd's, all the music sounds like this. Raw, raw, raw.
Hey, and welcome to Chicago Beer Pass. I'm Brad Chmielewski.
Brad, what's up, man? I'm Nick White.
And we are on location this week.
On location.
Over at Twisted Hippo.
Yeah, what are we in? Beautiful Albany Park?
Mm-hmm. We're in many parks. Albany Park, Horner Park, Irving Park, and Ravenswood Manor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when you walk in from the Francisco Brown Line, you see the Ravenswood Manor stops on the street or whatever. The street lamp signs. Oh, but anyway, we're here with the Rutherfords.
Hello.
Carl, Marilee.
Hello.
They run Twisted Hippo.
Thanks for inviting us out here. It's great to get a little sneak peek before everyone gets in here and people are counting down the days.
We're excited to show you guys around.
So I guess where should we start? We should start with the beer, right? It's in front of us. Nick's already drinking it.
I'm
I
going
haven't.
in, man.
I was waiting.
It's happy hour. I'm here. I'm here for this, Brad.
So when we came in, you mentioned that you have one more beer to brew before, I guess, a full lineup.
Yes.
So this is we're missing the one.
Mm-hmm.
So what do we have in front of us now?
So today we've got 4 beers that we just moved over to the serving tanks. We've got our Johnny Juice, which is an apple ale. We've got Jittery Nickel, which is an oak-aged coffee IPA. Evil M, which is a kitchen sink porter. A little bit of chocolate, licorice, even a little bit of chili pepper in there. And then coconut black umbrella. So we have an oatmeal rye stout called Black Umbrella. We've done this one with some toasted coconut in there as well.
Okay. Nice. What's the one to be brewed then?
So tomorrow we're doing a Goza.
Okay.
But actually, so beyond this, we will have 14 beers on the lineup when we launch. So we've got another 8 in tanks downstairs that are fermenting away that'll be transferred over and then carved within the next couple weeks before we, get the doors open, before we host our New Year's event.
Okay.
Which will be the first public event when people will be able to see the space.
That seems like a great way to kick things off for you guys, like a big party, a celebration, especially in the space because it's big and it's beautiful. And
It's going to be super fun. We actually talked about doing a balloon drop and decided against it so that people could see the full height of the ceilings when they walk in and get the whole thing.
Yeah. This has been a strange ride, man. I can remember yesterday when I'm hanging out on a rooftop with Juan Kim.
Oh my gosh.
Probably like 5 years ago at this point. And he's like, man, you got to come meet this couple. They're pouring 24 beers at their house.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, tell me more, And that was my first time hearing about the Twisted Hippo gang, right? So you guys have, we always see you at festivals, right? Now you finally made this transition to having your own space. What was the route? Tell us about the journey, man.
Man, it was a long and winding road. It was a very long and winding road. We started many, many years ago. Looking at spaces, and we brought on some partners along the way, and for a hot minute we were Brewed Hippo, and then bought the company back from them and went back to our original moniker, which is Twisted Hippo, because we're just a little more twisted than we are rude.
okay.
But just a little, trust me.
So before this, you guys, I want to say you guys you were brewing with Slapshot, I want to say, at one point, right?
Yeah, so our first larger batches were actually out of 18th Street in Indiana.
Okay.
That's where we really got our feet wet, and that was, man, I mean, it was a tremendous experience. It was a lot of driving.
Oh, yeah. Probably like Gary back then. Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah. Hammond wasn't even open at the time.
I've been to Gary once to that brewery.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really special place for us. But we knew that we wanted to be in the city, so we came across the border just to make life easier. And we're brewing out of Slapshot for a little while, and then they closed. And Ailman very graciously offered us storage space for our tanks.
And that's not far from here.
No, it's over Belmont and Cicero-ish.
Yeah.
And they allowed us, once they got their license, to brew out of there for a little while. And now we are finally fully licensed here. I mean, it's been forever.
It's been a journey.
But the space almost has a similar journey as you guys, so it's always very
It's
fitting,
true.
right?
It's true. Nothing is easy, but it's all worth it. Yes.
Sorry. What were you, speaking of the space, right?
Yeah.
What were your initial thoughts when this space became available? Like, and we'll get into the backdrop of the space.
Okay, so here's the thing. The first time I was in this space, we were in this space, was before the walls were even completed between the front restaurant space and the wood shop. Everything was just framed out. We were here for some.
I believe it was a
don't know.
Kickstarter for 18th Street.
Maybe.
I think it was.
I think it was when they like hit their number or something. Probably.
And I just fell in love with this space immediately. And we watched it go through its various transitions. I mean, Break Room was the original incarnation. And then they had some issues with, I don't know, business, downtown business. And Finch came in for a little while, and they were, I don't know how their arrangement worked, but they were here for a
what
minute.
they were actually doing here.
Yeah, they had because they still had another location.
Right.
Yeah.
And this was just like their tap room restaurant thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did anyone go to it?
We took the brew bus here a few times. That was so I was here the night that we saw Drew Fox cry because they hit their number.
Sorry, Drew, that wasn't funny. It was beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yeah, they hit their number, right? And then you saw, like, I think it was Mike Palin from Microphone was brewing for Break Room, right? And then and then the third time it was Finch all of a sudden, and then we ended the tour here because the tour was rough. Like, no one wanted to. After a while, no one wanted to see us at 7:00. But
Tough to find a place that wanted to let you roll in at 7.
So and that's when we started coming here.
Yeah.
So.
But we were really happy to be able to get a deal done. We talked about this space for a long time. And when we came in, we took full ownership of the equipment. We signed the lease over, so fresh new lease, fresh new owners, everything new. So as of now, this is all Twisted Hippo. No other owners, no other investors. It's just us.
No more roommates.
No more roommates.
Got our own space.
We're done with
Yes.
roommates. We've outgrown roommates.
Yes.
Now we're ready for our own place.
Though to be clear, we do have an excellent business partner.
That is true.
Yes.
That is true.
Yeah.
And then so you guys are gonna have food here, and there's a chef. I believe I'm trying to remember what I saw on Twitter and in social media. Like
That's
something,
Joanna.
right?
She's amazing. Yeah, the goal is for us to provide interesting, awesome food to go with our interesting, awesome beer. It's going to be very approachable, but a little bit different.
Okay.
So, we will definitely have a great pub burger, smash burger, cheese curds, like things that you want to eat while you're drinking.
Right. Okay.
But also, God, she makes the best frickin' salads. Holy moly. And soups and like,
House-made Reubens.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
and pickles. And I mean, there's really solid work coming out of the kitchen, and it will be very affordable and go nicely with the beer. The goal is just to make sure that there's a little something for everybody.
Okay.
We want to make sure that gluten-free people are taken care of. We want to make sure that vegetarians and vegans are taken care of. And if you want to be here, you can be here and have a good time and be with all your friends. I think that's one of the challenges with having a tap room and with having a space in general, is just making sure that you can talk to a large audience, and that's what we want.
And especially up this way where you probably gonna see a lot of families come in. I
Yeah.
know Break Room did.
Yeah,
and
man.
So it's just a different crowd. It's not I want burgers and beer kind of crowd. It's like, oh, there's kids, there's moms, dads, there's everyone coming in here.
When we first started talking about opening this space, I said I wanted it to be a place where you could bring your knitting circle or your D&D game. Like, whatever, man. Just bring all of your weird to me. Bring it all to me. I love it.
Yeah, that's fitting because we're upstairs where the art gallery is going to be.
Uh-huh.
There's the Killer Queen machine.
Yep.
And that's pretty unique in itself.
Oh, that thing is great. Yeah, there's nothing like getting together with 9 other people and screaming at each other.
Yeah, I've never played said Killer Queen. I think I've seen you maybe with the hat or something. Every time Brett's got a hat, I don't know the logo, and it's got something to do with some game.
It's a fun game. It's just it's expensive.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like $1 a person every 5 minutes.
No.
Like, oh, it's over? All right.
Is it expensive though? Because really, I'm just saying.
We were talking when we came in early, Karl, and I was excited to hear about like the expansion project. So like the Heinemann Bar Company, and they made bars for people like I want to say like maybe Rev or Haymarket, right? They're pretty popular. They made a lot of bars. Oh, but the actual tap room stops, and then the bar company opens. And then that space you're going to expand into it. But you got some cool stuff you want to do in that back space you were saying.
Yeah, in the warehouse space. So, right now we're focused on getting the front open, getting the tap room and kitchen open. But yes, over time we plan to open a retail shop back there. We'll have a secondary event space, hopefully a secondary game room, and even one of the things that we're committed to doing is reusing as many products from the brewing process as possible, like our spent grains. So we'll have spent grain items on the menu, but we want to put in a full bakery back there where we can really make spent grain items and continue to expand that and offer those to people as well.
For sure. Hey, have any of the beers from the days when you had all these beers on at tap? Have any of those beers made the transition through the festival circuit and into the new space?
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. So
Many.
Some of the beers that we were brewing at home are, some of them that we're going to see the lineup. The Jittery Nickel is a version of Wooden Nickel, which was an oak aged IPA that we were doing, for years at home. We are getting ready to do a pretty big expansion and start actually releasing some beers in cans as well. So our Bee Sleaze, which is our common brewed with honey, well, that's going to see cans. In fact, it was canned today. So that's gonna see the market very soon. Old St. Augie's, which is a hoppy farmhouse that we make, that'll see cans very soon as well. And Plumpus, which is a beer that we first brewed with Compass Bar during Craft Beer Week about 4 years ago. That'll also go into cans as well. That's an Italian plum saison.
Oh, nice.
Are those cans? So those cans gonna be in the stores? Are you gonna be able to have cans that you'll be selling here as well?
Yes.
All of
Yes.
things.
Right,
Yeah.
Jump on that hype can release every day. Can release.
Yeah,
train.
Brad's always running across can releases. I feel like that was one of the beers that kicked when I saw you guys in Long Grove? It was either the Plum or the Augie. The Augie Farmhouse Ale was one of the first ones you guys blew.
Yeah, and I think the Plumpus, the Italian plum saison, that's the one that was just the weird line the ride beer at Buckingham Fountain.
Oh, Chicago
Years
Ale
ago,
Fest.
yeah.
Yeah, it was
Chicago Ale
just,
Fest. Yeah.
it was crazy. It was like a quarter-mile line or something stupid for it. It was awesome. But it's a freaking delicious beer. It's so good.
And it's different, too.
Yeah.
Which is what we tend to do. I mean, we tend to do beers that are a little bit off the beaten path. We kind of take the approach that, we have really good friends that are brewing, straight ahead styles and are making amazing beers. But, for us to add another one of those to the conversation doesn't really add a lot. So we tend to take a style and then riff on it a little bit. So we want to put our own stamp on the beers. We want them to be approachable, but, we want them to have our own voice.
For sure. What was I going to ask you? Oh, yeah. I want to talk about the Rude Hippo era.
Sure.
Right? Because, on the way here on the Brown line, I'm flipping through my phone. In 2014, we interviewed Rude Hippo. It was, I want to say Rude Boy, which is its own brewery, and then Twisted Hippo.
Yes.
Joined forces, and now they're Rude Hippo,
Yes.
right? And they're two couples, right? So it's interesting. It's an interesting story, right? And then I look up, and before you know it, like, it was like, okay, we're not doing that anymore. So what happened? What happened in the Rude Hippo era?
Well, we had different, ultimately we just had different visions for where the company should go. And I think life happened and we were very small and very young. And it was the time for us to go down our separate paths.
Creative differences.
Yeah, which is perfectly okay. Way better to do that early on than get 5 years into a business and be like, okay, well, great.
Now
what?
Now how do we figure
Now
this out?
what?
Yeah.
And especially that'll happen during like a very, I think, transition time in craft beer. So
Yeah.
you kind of almost avoided that a little bit by having that own thing you were in versus like trying to sell beer and
I feel like
the scene. I don't know.
for us it was dramatic,
Yeah.
but it wasn't ultimately like in the grand scheme and any huge deal. Like it wasn't any bigger than it ever should have been or needed to be.
I knew you guys, but I didn't really know them as well. But I want to say they went to like sours or something, right?
Yeah, really enjoyed all kinds of things, especially sours and IPAs and just different, and that's fine. It's totally fine. It was, I think, ultimately a good experience for all of us to have gone through. I think we all learned a lot and figured out what we needed. It's great.
Cool.
Yeah, it certainly solidified for us, this is what we're going to do, this is what we're not going to do.
Yeah.
It really, kind of galvanized us and gave us a clear vision for where we were going to go in the future as we were looking for that next home.
Cool.
Yeah, and it's nice to hear that it didn't, I guess, sour anyone on the whole beer scene and didn't be like, screw this, I'm out kind of thing, right?
Like, I'm going to go sell real estate.
Yeah.
Fuck it all.
So, yeah, you often hear stories like that where it's just like, all right,
you're just like, all right,
I
this
don't need this.
Not worth it anymore.
How does the space work? It was a functioning brewery when you guys took it over, so like, was the tanks and everything? When you come in, you keep all the tanks?
Yep.
Yeah, so we bought all the equipment, so all the brewing equipment and all the kitchen equipment we purchased, and then we remodeled the space to make it our own. That was very important to us. That it's been previous incarnations. We think people are going to be pleasantly surprised when they walk in, and we think they're going to see it and probably say, "I thought I'd been here before, but now I'm not so sure."
Yeah, that's what I felt when I came in. I was like,
We were talking about it when we were on the upstairs.
laid out the same. I know it was here, and we're on the upstairs now. I was like, well, is this what it was? But I've only been here like twice before, so it was all like just looking around in wonderment and like, oh, what is that? What's over there? Yeah.
That's what we were going for.
I'll tell you, when it was Break Room, and then it transitioned into Finch, the only difference was like it was yellow, and there were birds everywhere. But it was the exact same space. And then when you come in today, you're like, yo, this is not the same at all. Yeah, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and there are a lot of people in the neighborhood who are committed to this space in general, which is great. And we wanted to make extra sure that when people walk in, they don't think that they're getting what they've ever gotten before.
Right.
This is not just another incarnation of something that's already existed. It's something completely new.
No, I like that. Yeah.
It's important to us. This is our neighborhood. We've lived within a mile of this building for almost 18 years.
Yeah.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah. So we've had our eye on this, this building in particular, but this area to do something really great for our neighborhood.
Yeah.
For a long time.
Yeah, I remember coming up here the first time. It felt far away from stuff, and then as you start to venture more and more, you're like, oh, it's right there, half acres, like really not that far away.
Yeah.
That's true. It's not a place. Well, I used to live, like I was telling the guys, I used to live like 2 blocks away.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's not disconnected at all. But you didn't necessarily have like a reason to go specifically to that neighborhood,
Right.
Yeah.
Until now, which is kind of cool. I'm
Well,
excited
and
about that.
we're on this great path. There's Half Acre, and then there's us, and then there's Old Irving, and then there's Eris and Lake Effect.
That's true. It does kind of bridge the northwest side a little bit to
Yeah.
like the Lincoln Square area. This is like the bridge between the two. I didn't realize that till right now.
Yeah. We have our own little brewing corridor going on over here.
Great.
Giving them
Love
all
it.
run for their money.
Yeah. So the launch is coming up.
Yes.
So what can we expect, man? Like, what are you? Well, we talked about New Year's Eve, right? And then after that, what are you guys getting into?
We're going to do some training and some friends and family events in that first week or so of January. As soon as we're ready, we're opening.
Yeah.
So presumably, we've targeted somewhere mid-January without getting too specific because should anything go horribly amiss,
Right.
I don't want to make any promises. But the plan is soon. So soon, you guys. Oh, soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know people have been asking us, and we were wondering as well. And as you guys, people are calling and texting.
Oh, yeah.
Like, can I come drink the beer yet? Like, what's happening?
We get people every day at the door. We get people peeking in the windows. We get people, calling and emailing, which is great. We're very excited that people want to come in here and drink. But we're just like, just give us a little bit more time, and we'll get the doors open.
And we want to do it right. That's the important thing.
Yeah.
So we'll get there. We've waited this long.
That's true.
Yeah. Another couple weeks is,
Yeah.
Okay.
So what else is going to happen in the space? We were talking about the art gallery area. Is that something that's going to be a permanent? Is it going to change out? Like, who's...
Yeah, so we will have a rotating art show. So our creative director is going to curate art by, people that we work with. One of the things that we do, we have a resident creative director, but he doesn't necessarily do all of our artwork. So we're committed to working with a variety of different artists.
Okay.
So each one of our labels, each one of our versions of our mascot Pinky, our pink hippo with his antlers, his wings, and his pigtail. We want different artists to do their interpretations, and every label will feature different version of Pinky, and there'll be a lot of art by different people that we'll use in the space, and we want to give those people an opportunity to show off, their other work as well.
Yeah.
And the hippo was a toy, right? Or a stuffed animal,
Yes,
right? Is
yes,
that how that came about?
It was a plastic ride-on hippo. It's in the back, actually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
When Karl was a couple of years old, he took a liking to running away from home, and he did it on this tiny pink hippo with wheels.
I assume it lifted up and there was this little storage thing right in there.
No,
Just a little seat
This
and
was-
handlebars through his head.
single purpose. This was only for running.
Yeah.
Only for running away to Grandma's
You
house.
take your Hot Wheels
Yeah.
and sell it out.
Yeah. Well, my grandma lived like 2 blocks away, so it wasn't a far trip. But I would get on my little hippo, ride over there, and then of course Grandma had gotten a phone call when she'd be waiting for me when I got there.
Yeah.
Waiting to tell me that I needed to turn around and go back home.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's awesome. I'm amazed that you also still have that.
Yes.
too.
So
That's,
yeah. The original Pinky, he'll be on display here in the tap room. He'll be a part of the fabric of this
One of
place
the
for
little
sure.
Easter eggs that
Yeah.
we have hidden
Yeah.
for people. Yeah.
So Nick, you've gone through all the beers. You've already finished.
Yeah,
What was your standout?
I
here?
think the jittery nickel is it still, if we're still calling it that. Yeah, and this last one's bringing me joy. It's like a porter or a stout or something.
That's the
What's this one? I think
that's
black
the-
umbrella
Black umbrella.
Coconut black
with
umbrella.
coconut. Yeah.
So it's an oatmeal rye stout.
Yeah.
So the oatmeal kind of rounds it out, gives it a nice mouthfeel. The rye kind of gives it a nice spicy, crisp note. And then that coconut also, is a nice feature in there as well.
Yeah, I like the body, man. Sometimes I don't want to be overwhelmed. I just want to cruise with something.
Yeah,
but still got a lot of attitude. Still,
We call that an all-weather stout.
Yeah.
We like the idea. I know not everybody does, but that stouts are a year-round beverage.
Yeah.
You don't need to necessarily just confine your stouts to the winter months. So we're making that beer and calling it an all-weather stout, and hopefully people will get on that train with us.
It's a good patio beer. It's got that nice crisp finish to it because of the rye, so it really cleans up nicely, and it doesn't leave that cack in your mouth when you're done.
Yeah.
And are you still behind all the beers? We saw a couple guys down there as well, so I don't know if you've had to step away.
Yes, I'm still the head brewer, but yes, I do have a team behind me now, which is fantastic. That's something new that I'm still adjusting to as well, but they're doing a great job at bringing the recipes that we have, creating those, and then starting to think about what we're going to do from here, and really understanding and taking on the voice of Twisted Hippo, and understanding that everything we do needs to be in our voice, and bringing things to the table. They've got great ideas, and we've got ideas for months.
Okay.
Which is great, because that's exactly what this place is for us. I know you mentioned we used to have all the beers at home. We had the massive kegerator with all the taps in our house. This place is our ability to get back to that. So we will have the core beers that are going to be out much more widely available. But this pub really affords us the opportunity to experiment, to do different beers, try things out, and then of course if they go well, we have that avenue to release them more widely as well.
This place is kind of an extension of our home.
Yeah.
In more ways than one. I feel like we practically sleep here. But we've always been very hosty and very excited to have people around and talk to people and learn about their lives and make beer for them and make food for them and really create a safe and happy space for people to be and enjoy each other's company and hang out together. And we always used to do that in our 2-bedroom apartment, and now we can do that over several thousand square feet, and it's amazing.
And there are more people.
Right.
Yeah.
How has been every time you've moved and changed, scaling up your beers to a different system and those recipes, and like how is that?
Not
Struggles
terrible. Surprisingly not terrible. There's a lot of good software out there that helps with that. There have been a few adjustments that have been necessary, like, oh, well, that was not quite what we expected.
Yeah. Every time we've made a move, we've had to make some little tweaks here and there, but that's actually been really good for when we moved here.
So good.
Because we really understand what those beers are and what they're supposed to taste like. So we know right away whether something is, what we want or whether or not it needs to be tweaked.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
I've never had to do that side of that.
Because you hear different stories,
yeah.
right? Like, you got to dial it in on the system, all that kind of jazz. Like, it's not
Absolutely.
like baking a cake with more ingredients. It's got to figure it all out again, like that kind of.
You do have to kind of relearn a little bit, but thankfully we've had the experiences of working on the different systems that has helped us figure that out.
Yeah. It's such a cool Chicago story, man. Like I like Honey Butter Fried Chicken. Those guys started as like the Sunday night supper club, right? I think like upstairs from where the restaurant is, or something to that effect, right? And then you follow this journey with these guys, and then like you hear it go from here all the way to this massive space. It's exciting, especially in a town like ours that has a lot of breweries.
All the breweries. More
I mean,
breweries than anybody, you guys.
All the breweries.
That was the article this week. That we have more breweries now than any other metro area.
So it's exciting, man. And then the space gives you the chance to win, right? Because you got to have that point of sale. You can't just be like a shop. You can't just be a brewery with no tap room.
Right.
You can.
You can.
It's hard.
It's hard. I think that's the point I was making.
We've been trying to slog it out and do that for years now, and this allows us to directly interact with people, to get direct feedback and find out what's working, what's not working, and pivot and make adjustments and move forward.
What they said. That's what I meant to say, Brad. I meant to say what they said.
Well, I think anyone in craft beer has been pushing for like drink from the source fresh, and then like it happened, and all these breweries are like, oh crap, we just have our beer in the store. We need a space where people can come to. We're pushing for this, and we didn't adapt to it as well. So you guys having this, and people can be here, and
this is one of the things that I really like about what's happening with beer. I mean, Prohibition really boned us hard as a country. Like it just did, and I feel some responsibility. We're both from Kansas. Carrie Nation was from Kansas, and that woman really screwed things up. But it's so nice to have like the neighborhood spot, right? It used to be that you could take a pail over to your local brewery and have it filled up. That's where growlers came from. Because apparently they made a little growly noise when they were sloshing back and forth on their way back. I don't know, whatever. That's where it came from. But now, instead of getting a bucket of beer, you can come and get a clean can of beer and a nice nosh on the way. We've elevated it slightly since the times of cholera.
See, no prohibition, we'd still be at buckets.
Exactly.
Right? That's definitely what would have happened.
I think some people might prefer that.
Definitely get pulled over in your car with your buckets of beer.
With your bucket of beer sloshing around,
Awesome. So, New Year's Eve, tickets still available?
Yep.
For now.
Okay. Awesome. And then look for January if you can't make it to that. You've already made plans.
Yeah, I mean, you just got to keep those peepers peeled on the old social medias, ye old social meds, as it were. because we're putting everything out there. It's the best way to see what's going on with us. You are also still welcome to call the Hippo line, which goes to my cell phone.
Okay.
But generally, that's going to be the best place to find stuff.
Cool. All right. Excited to see you guys fully open and
Me
with the
too.
food, and it'll be awesome.
Yeah.
I guess we'll let you guys come.
Fun times ahead. Fun times ahead.
Yeah. Thanks for sitting down with us.
Of course.
And everyone, thanks for listening and watching.
Thank you, guys.
Take care.
Cheers.
Cheers.